Everyone, good morning. So with yesterday's halachot, we completed halachot of Bikru Cholim and the halachot of a little bit of Refuah. So next on the list was Avelut, but we're going to be skipping the halachot of Avelut, even though it's a big chunk, but it's something that a person learns when they're in that situation and not generally learned in a public setting, in the shiur. So with that, it's how we actually complete Orach Chaim and Yoreh De'ah, half of the Shulchan Aruch in the Yalkut Yosef and the applicable halachot. So it's an accomplishment. And we've been doing this since I started here. So we started right at the beginning, Netilat Yadayim, and waking up in the morning, Tefillin, Tzitzit, going on and on and on. So we're not done yet, but and then we will review. Of course, we'll figure this out. But next is no test. Yeah, don't worry. So next is Sefer, is the third out of the fourth book, Even HaEzer in the Shulchan Aruch, which talks about marriage and woman type of things. And it starts off with the laws of the Mitzva of having children, Peru, Urvu. So that's what we're going to be talking about and getting into Bezrat Hashem. So there's a Mitzvah to get married, a Mitzvah to have children, and the minimum for children is to try to have one boy and one girl. Now, of course, everything's min hashamayim. A person could have 3 girls, it could have 4 boys, whatever. But as long as you've been trying, but you hit the mitzvah when you have 1 boy and 1 girl, and every subsequent child is in a mitzvah as well. Now, this commandment, it's a mitzvah, it's a commandment, is on the man. So, of course, you need a woman in order to have children, but there's no commandment on the woman. So, if let's say a woman doesn't, get married or doesn't try to get married, doesn't want to get married, whatever it is, there's no commandment on her to have children and to get married, so she's not going to be faulted for it. But she still should try to seek out to get married and to want to get married, etc. And generally, the women do this, but just giving you the exact halacha on it. Now, there is one of the Ashkenazi Gedolim, Rav Yehuda Chassid, was a Mikubal, and he left before passing away a tzava, a will, a halachic will with different things according to Kabbalah that some people do, some people don't do, but it's not really rooted in other places like in the Gemara, etc. So one of the things he says, let's say, talking about marriage, talking about shidduchim a little bit. So he says that a person that let's say is a chatan shouldn't marry a girl that her father has the same name as him, and a girl shouldn't marry a boy that the mother-in-law is going to be the same name as her. This is what the Yehuda Chassid says. So most Ashkenazim go with this, and they don't do that. Let's say they have a shidduch. Their son's named David. They have a good girl. They hear about this girl, and the girl's father is David. They won't go into the shidduch. Amazing. And there's recently a story that I heard that they were going to call the kid a certain name. At the last minute, they changed the name. 25 years later, they had the shidduch, and it worked out because the name that they originally wanted was the girl's father. So the Ashkenazim are really strict on this. Most of them are. Sfaradim generally are not. Actually, my mother and her mother-in-law, my grandmother, have the same name as well. My father's mother, my mother. I think everything worked out okay. I think. So Sfaradim in general are not. For the final outcome, yeah. I hope Hashem, please. So that's true. So the Sfaradim in general are not worried about it, but it's interesting that Rav Ovadia Yosef writes that if a person in general goes with Rav Yehuda Chassid's tzava and other things, like he has a few things like not to get a haircut, I think on Rosh Chodesh, he's a few things that come kind of from him, Kabbalah. He says if a person is strict on it, then they should add a name to themselves or the father-in-law, if that's the situation, in order to avoid this issue. But again, in general, Sfaradim are not into this. Ashkenazim, for the most part, are. And I remember a case where there was a shidduch, in Ashkenazim, there was such a good shidduch, they didn't want to break it. They didn't want, they were going to date. This guy again was David, and the father was David, and they didn't want to forego it, so the father added a name to himself in order for them to go and get married. So that's interesting. Yeah, you're asking something? No, it's not. There's Hasidim, Ashkenazim Hasidim are very into Kabbalah. Yeah, Hasidim are very into it. And yeah, it's for everyone, but yes, there might be more of a stress on it in the Sephardic. Okay, one last point is that when it comes to Shidduchim, when it comes to Shidduchim, A couple needs to reveal, comes to marriage, some of the laws of marriage, a couple needs to reveal anything that might affect the marriage going forward. So let's say they're dating and a guy has a sickness, or a guy's on certain medicine, or he has, he's a Baal Teshuvah, and he wants to, therefore, the wife should know these things if it's going into the marriage, and not to hide things. Now there comes a question, as a rabbi, I've faced this question before. Let's say there's this guy and girl that are dating, and now you as an outsider, oh my gosh, I know this guy, he's on medicine, let's say. I know this guy, he's got a serious issue. Maybe she doesn't know about it. Can I tell the girl? Can I tell the girl's family? Right? So in those type of situations, speak to your local rabbi. Don't make those decisions on your own. Right? I know this guy, this girl's father is a bad guy. He ripped me off of business, this, and that. Can I go now and say to the guy's family, the family you're getting into is a family that is, they're always in whatever. So speak to your local rabbi to decide, to discuss, to navigate how to try to, figure it out properly, what is allowed to be said, what's not allowed to be said. Very, very delicate things. Okay, that's that for today. We'll continue on this vein in the coming days. Minchat tonight, 4:25. Parashat Shiur tonight, 8:30. Have a good day, everyone.